Good morning everyone. In the last class we discussed about various angular measurement devices like dial indicators, slip gauges, slip blocks, angular blocks as well as spirit levels. So today we will discuss about sine bar. Sine bar is the precision instrument. So it's a precision angular measurement. Some precision angular measurement instrument is used along with slip gauges. So this is the schematic of our sine bar. So our sine bar consists of two rollers. So this is the roller 1 and this one is the roller 2. So here these are the two rollers on the bottom side of our sine bar. So and this is the upper surface. This is the surface on which our workpiece is going to place. So depends upon the application. If the workpiece is small, the workpiece is going to place on the top of this sine bar. If the component is big, then we will replace or we will place this sine bar on the top of the component. So depends upon the size of the component. It means size of the workpiece. The sine bar can be placed on the top or the workpiece can be placed on the sine bar. It depends upon the size of the component. So this consists of an upper surface. This is the smooth, and this surface, this upper surface is parallel to this axis of the rollers. As we know that these rollers, these two rollers should be in its axis, and that axis should be parallel to the upper surface. And this is having, and these are the end surfaces, and on the side they are having side faces. So this is the lower surface of our workpiece. So majorly we will focus only about the rollers and the upper surface of our sine bars. So the sine bar is a precision angular measuring instrument. So this is used for measuring angles and to locate the workpiece or job at a required angle very accurately. So sometimes we need to place our workpiece in the tables. It means the vices or clamps. For machining, we need to place our tools as well as workpiece. For setting those jobs, it means for setting up the work is also called as job pieces. Those are to be correctly aligned with respect to angle. That is done by means of this sine bars. So sine bar is made up of high carbon steel, high chromium and hardened. So as we know that if any component is exposed to wear and tear, it means during the operation, the rubbing action might take place. If our components are going to expose like that operations, then we will go for heat treatment process, that is hardening process. So to improve the wear resistance of the component, we are going to use this hardening process. And the chromium is having high wear resistance. So to improve its wear resistance, we use these materials. Next, it consists of two rollers. The steel bar. So as we mentioned that it consists of two steel rollers. Next, the two rollers are very accurate and high precise and truly equal in diameters. So the two diameters. So the two rollers. The diameter of the two rollers should be equal. So these rollers can be adjusted. So that depends upon the sine bars. So if we are adjusting or if we are replacing the rollers, then the two rollers should be equal. That's the condition. So the two rollers are very accurate and high precise. So along with that, they are truly equal in diameter and are attached at the ends. So these two rollers should have equal diameter. When we place the sine bar on the truly flat surface, the axis of the two rollers, so the axis of the two rollers are parallel to each other. So the axis of this roller and the axis of this roller, these two rollers should be equal. So these two axes should be in parallel, and the axis along with these two axes should be parallel to the upper surface also. And also parallel to the upper face of the sine bar. So there is a presence of relief holes in the steel bar. So here if you observe that there are some holes. So these holes are called relief holes. So the purpose of this relief holes is to reduce the weight of the component. So the norm. So here we didn't mention that. So the purpose of these holes is to reduce the weight of the component. So next, the normal distance between the two rollers is truly available in 100 mm, 200 mm and 300 mm. So the distance between two rollers. So the distance between these two rollers are fixed. So those are available in the standards of 100 mm, 200 mm and 300 mm. So those are the standard lengths. So depends upon the applications where we are using. So it means depends upon the size of the workpiece or job. We will select these standard sign bars, whether it is 100 or 200 or 300. Next, it is generally used in conjunction with slip gauges and dial indicators and surface plates. So if we want to use sign bar, along with the sign bar, we need to use these slip gauges, dial indicators and surface plate also. In conjunction with these slip gauges, dial indicators and surface plate only, we can measure the angle of the job by means of this sign bar. The principle of operation relies upon trigonometry. So as we know that trigonometry in the sense sin theta, cos theta, tan theta. So the principle of this operation depends upon this trigonometric equations. Next, the principle of operation of sign bar is based upon trigonometry. That is sin theta equal to opposite side by diagonals. That is hypotenuse. So here, if we want to identify the theta, so for that sin theta equal to opposite side, that is B to C. That is the distance by the length of our sign bar. So the length of the sign bar L is fixed. So that it might be 100 or 200 or 300. So the L is fixed. So we can select anything. So depends upon the job. We can select 100 or 200 or 300. So and the height is depends upon the number of slip gauges. So this height can be achieved by means of bringing the slip gauges. So this height, as we know that every slip gauge having its number. A number is marked. It means the thickness is marked on the one of the face of slip gauge. So if we join n number of slip gauges, we can sum all those and we can mention that as height. So therefore, theta equal to sin theta equal to opposite side, that is length of length of the slip blocks by total length of our sign bar, that is h by l. Sin theta equal to opposite side by hypotenuse or diagonal. So as you can see, one roller is placed on the surface plate. So earlier we discussed that. So sign bar can be used in conjunction with surface plate, slip gauges and dial indicator. So we already used slip gauges here for the length. So these all things are placed on a surface plate. One roller is placed on the surface plate and the other one is placed on a height h with the help of slip gauges. For attaining a required height, we used slip gauges. So where L is the distance between two setting rollers of the sign bar. From the above trigonometric formulas, sin theta equal to opposite by diagonals is that equal to h by L. From this we can write theta equal to sin inverse of h by L. This is the reason why this device is called sign bar. So by means of trigonometric equation, that is sin theta, we are calculating the angle of our workpiece with the help of slip gauges. So that this is called sign bar. We are using a trigonometric equation sin theta. So the instrument is called sign bar. Next, working principle of sign bar. So for checking unknown angles of a component, a dial indicator is moved along the surface of the work. So one of the roller is placed or is mounted on the surface plate and one is mounted on the slip gauges. So this is a set of slip gauges and here this is the surface plate. On the top of the surface plate one roller is mounted and on the top of the slip gauges we placed one more roller. So on the top of the sign bar we placed the workpiece. So we need to increase the height of the slip blocks. so that the sign bar can be tilted until the dial indicator on the top shows 0 indication. So earlier, if the workpiece, if our sign bar is on the rest, then the workpiece is having some inclination. It means tapered angle. So if we place the dial indicator on the top of the workpiece, here it shows some deflection. If we move further, it shows negative deflection. So here the deflection is varying from one part to the other part. So we need to raise this end. It means the workpiece should be raised until the deflection of the dial indicator is 0. It means if we move the probe of the dial indicator, it should show the same reading. It means 0. So here, this is the probe of our dial indicator. Probe or stylus. Probe of our dial indicator. If you move this probe on the surface of the workpiece, it should show 0 deflection. It means, so from here to here, it should show same deflection. Then only our workpiece is parallel to the surface plate. If it is parallel to surface plate, then we need to take this as the height of our component. So then only we can consider the height. So this slippages. So this height of the slippages can be varied. So this height can be increased until the workpiece surface is parallel to our surface plate. So this surface plate is parallel to our workpiece. So till the workpiece surface reaches the parallelism, we need to increase the height of the slippages. So ultimately, after getting the 0 of the dial indicator, we note down the height of the slip gauges and we note down the length of the sign bar, so that we can get the angle of our workpiece. So for checking the unknown angles of a component, a dial indicator is moved along the surface of work. If any deviations is noted, the slip gauges are then adjusted such that the dial in the sense dial indicator reads 0 as it moves from one end to the other end. If we are moving the probe from this direction to this direction, it should show the same deflection, that is 0. If it is showing 0, then only we can take the length of the slip gauges. So if it is not showing, it means if it is showing any deflection, we need to vary the height of the slip gauges, so that we can get the 0 reading of the dial indicator. So this is the schematic. So the dial indicator is mounted by means of a stand, and the dial indicator can be moved on the surface of the part, so that we can get the angle of the component. So here on the top of the surface plate, one roller is placed, and on the top of the slip gauges, slip blocks, other roller is mounted. So this is the actual diagram. So this is the taper angle we need to identify. So we increase the height of the slip gauges until this surface is parallel to our base. So here is our surface plate. So it should be parallel to our component. So until then we raise the height of the slip gauges. So next, working when the large components to be measured. So till now we discussed that if the workpiece is small, we place the workpiece on the top of the slip gauge. Now the component is big, it means the workpiece is large. At that condition, we place the sign bar on the top of the workpiece. So here if we observe that the sign bar is reversed, so we place the sign bar on the top of the workpiece. So on the top of the workpiece we place the sign bar, and we identify the height of this roller from the surface. From this surface we identify the individual height of these rollers. So individual height of the roller, and from here to here height of the rollers by means of vernier height gauges. So in case of large components, the sign bar is placed over the component, as the component cannot be placed over the sign bar. As we know that the sign bar is having standard lengths. that is 100, 200 or 300. So up to 300 of dimension the component can be placed on the surface of this of our sign bar. If the dimension of the component is more, we are going to replace the workpiece with the sign bar. We are replacing the sign bar on the top of the workpiece. When the sign bar is placed over the large component, the lower surface of the large component is parallel to the datum surface. So this is the lower surface of our workpiece. The lower surface of the component is parallel to the datum surface. Next, the sign bar is placed on the upper surface of the component. So the sign bar is placed on the upper surface of the component. On the upper surface, we place our sign bar. The upper surface of the component is inclined and its angle is to be measured. We need to identify the angle, the upper angle of our component. So here we need to identify this angle theta. This is the lower surface and it is parallel to our datum line, and this is the upper surface of the component on which our sign bar is placed. The sign bar over the upper surface. The sign bar over the upper surface is also in an inclined position. So now the sign bar is in inclined position. Earlier our sign bar is in constant. On the top of that we placed a workpiece. After that we tilted our sign bar. The sign bar over the upper surface is also in an inclined position, and there is difference in heights of the two rollers. So the heights of the two rollers are varied from the datum surface. From here to here the height is different, and from here to here it is different. So therefore there is difference in the heights of two rollers of the sign bar. Next, the height of the two rollers is measured using vernier height gauge. By means of vernier height gauge, we are measuring the height of the rollers from the datum surface. And the height of the two rollers is written as H1 and H2. The height of the roller, this is H1 and one more is H2. Here the height H1 is more than H2. So from here to here this is H1 and from here to here it is H2. Heights H1 and H2. The difference in heights H1 and H2 is the rise of the sign bar. So the difference between H1 and H2, that is H1 minus H2, is the difference between the two rollers, that is the height of our sign bar, that is H equal to H1 minus H2. So the angle of the large component is evaluated using the formula below, that is sin theta equal to H1 minus H2 by L. So as we know that sin theta equal to H by L, H equal to H1 minus L2, where L is the standard length of this sign bar. L is the standard length of the sign bar. So here where theta is the angle of the component, H1 is the height of the upper surface, H2 is the height of the lower roller, and where L is the length of the sign bar. By means of this formula, we are identifying the angle of larger components. So advantages. So advantages of sign bars. It is used for accurate and precise angular measurement. So compared to earlier instruments, so this sign bar is used for checking as well as for arranging a proper angle with higher accuracy and higher precision. It is easily available. It means it is available easily. It is very cheap. Next, disadvantages. The application is limited to a fixed center distance. It is limited to a fixed center distance between the two plates or rollers. So the distance between two rollers are fixed. In a sense, it might be 100 or 200 or 300. The distance between the two rollers is fixed. It is difficult to handle and position the slip gauges. As you know that for joining the slip gauges, we need to follow a procedure that is called bringing procedure. So we need to change the slip gauges depends upon the angle. So frequently we need to adjust the length of the sign bar, length of the slip gauges to get the diffraction 0. So for that purpose we need to frequently change the lengths of the component. It is very difficult to adjust those slip gauges. Next, if the angle exceeds 45 degrees, the main limitation is if it exceeds 45 degrees, sign bar is impracticable and inaccurate. So up to 45 degrees only we can measure the angle with high accuracy. Whereas if it is more than 45 degrees, it is very difficult to handle the sign bar. Next, uses of sign bar. Sign bar is used to set or locate the workpiece at a given angle. The main workpiece at a given angle. Next, to check the measuring of unknown angles in the workpiece. So it is used for setting the angle of the workpiece, or also it is used for measuring the unknown angles. Both the things can be possible. So here that can be used for measuring as well as for setting also. Next, so it is used for checking the unknown angles of the heavier components. So the smaller components as well as heavier components can be identified. It means can be marked as well as can be checked. So next, some specially designed sign bars are used to mount the workpiece to do the conical shape machining for the workpiece. So for here we are setting the component. So next, sign centers. So sign bars are basically used for flat surfaces. So if the component is cylindrical, it means conical, then it is very difficult to place the component on the top of the sign bar. Why? Because due to conical section, the components might tilt, might move away. So for that purpose, we are using sign centers. So sign center, in addition to sign bar, sign centers are having two centers. Those are adjustable. So it consists of two adjustable sign centers. So it consists of two adjustable centers. So sign center is basically a sign bar with blocks holding centers. So with the blocks holding centers. So it's having centers C1 and C2, which can be adjusted and rigidly clamped in any position. So in any position this can be clamped. It means these centers can be moved along the length of the sign bar. These are used for the testing of conical works, which are centered at each end. So conical components are not easily held on a regular sign bar. For that purpose, we are using these sign centers for holding those conical sections. So these are extremely useful since the alignment accuracy of the centers ensures that the correct line of measurement is made along the workpiece. So if we hold the component between these two centers, the axis is uniform. So due to this correctness, the results are also very accurate. The centers can also be adjusted depending upon the length of the conical workpiece. So as we mentioned that these centers can be adjusted along the length. So depends upon the length of the workpiece, these centers can be adjusted. So it can be held between these centers. This is the schematic of our sign center. Next, sign table. So in sign table, so along with sign centers, it consists of a rigid table. So till now we use this sign centers or sign bars on the top of a surface plate. So now the sign table, it means the sign bar itself consists of a table. So one of the roller is pivoted. One of the roller is pivoted at one end, so that we are having a rigid table. So this is the schematic of our sign table. So one of the roller is pivoted here, and on the other side we are placed a number of slip gauges. So to increase the height of the table, we are placing those sign bars. Sorry, so we are placing slip gauges so that the conical section can be parallel to the surface of our table. That is our table. So this component is this should be parallel to this. So until the height we need to write these slip gauges. So these are the sign bars, sign centers and sign tables. So for measurement of angle we are using sign bars. So for measurement of conical sections or cylindrical, so it means for measurement of taper components, it means taper conical sections, we are using sign centers.